We are now moving on to part C of Unit 5. So we're still in the same unit, okay, KC5, but we are now talking about target C. So target C and D is going to be graphing and writing the equation of those lines. Again, we did this last semester, but I'm pretty sure we forgot already. So what you are going to do today is basically a review. So part 1 of target C notes is a review. It shouldn't be anything new because we did this last semester. So please, please pay attention, do the review, and if you have any questions, please message me on Teams or come before or after school. All right, here we go. The equation of a line, we need to write this line. So this is going to be your equation that you're going to write every time. You wrote this in the purple foldable. Remember, y equals mx plus b. This is the equation of a line. You are going to be writing this equation. The only thing that's going to be changing are two variables. Instead of writing the m, you're going to write a number here. The number for m is your slope, which is your change. And remember, we got the slope by two forms. One of them, as you can see, is right here, rate of change. Is by using the equation y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or the change of y or the change of x, which means rise over run. This is the one that we use in a graph, and this is how you do it algebraically. So with numbers, when you know the numbers of those points. If you don't know the numbers of those points, then you're going to use the rise over run. Remember, just count how many spaces you go up or down, and then left and right. Do not forget about my negatives. Remember, when you go down, it's negative. When you go to the left, it's negative. When you go to the right, it's positive. When you go up, it's positive. All right? Also, don't forget that if you're using the equation y2 minus y1, remember y2 goes first, not y1, okay? So again, all of this we learned last semester, so I'm not going to get too much into it. I'm going to get right away started. If you don't understand this, you have to go back and review those videos from, I believe it was KC4. Yep, it was KC4. And make sure you watch those videos. You can find them in the YouTube channel. Just go back to the list of the videos and you can find them. The other variable that you're going to change is the b. The b is going to be a number now. This is your y-intercept. This is the easiest number to find if you understand what the y-intercept means. It's a starting point. Starting point. Okay. It's called a y-intercept because it's going to be using the y-intercept, the y-axis. So usually when we have a graph, right, you have the y and the x. Okay, so I'm gonna make up a line right now. I just made up my line right here. This line is gonna cross using the y. Okay, do you see how they are intersecting at this point right here? The blue line, which represents the y, is crossing with the red line that I just made up at that point. This point will be your starting point. So I'm just going to say that this point is 1. This is 2, this is 3, and so on, right? So for this one, for my little example that I just did, that will be my starting point. It will be at y of 1, okay? So I will put 1 here instead of the letter B. Again, we did this already. So here we go. The steps to find the equation of a line, remember, is 1, find the slope, find the m, right? So you can change it. And then find the y-intercept, the point on the y-axis, which is b. So here we go. I'm going to do the first example with you, okay? And you're going to do the other one on your own. I gave you the 2 points already. Well, you need to figure out which one is first. Remember, you always start from the left to the right, okay? So which point is closest to the left, the top or the bottom? As you can see, the one closest to the left is the bottom one. So that's how I know that this is the first point. This has to be the second point. And this is the first and second. That means that my line is going up. My slope is going to be growing. It's going to be positive slope. The line is going up. All right, so I already know the coordinate points for this. This is my x1, y1. x2, y2. And again, why I say y1? Because this is my first point. This is x2 because it's my second point. All coordinate points, do not forget, that have an x and a y. We've been talking about coordinate points all the time now. So you should know that the first number is x, the second one is the y. All right, so I'm going to use my equation because I'm trying to find m. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Y2 is 0. 0 minus y1, which is negative 7. Make sure you put your negatives in parentheses. All right, x2. X2 is 4. 4 minus x1, which is 0. I am going to do the math now. 0 minus negative 7 is going to be just 7. 4 minus 0 is going to be 4. 7 divided by 4, because remember, a fraction means division. 7 divided by 4 gives me a decimal. So I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. This right here is my slope. Okay, I am going to find b now. Okay, so I'm going to erase everything that I wrote in this line. Remember, b is the one crossing on the y-axis. This is your y. You should already know that this is your y. Okay, where is this red line crossing with the one that I just highlighted? Well, that is a point right here. They're crossing at this. They intersect. Okay, so that means that it's not 6. If you read the coordinate point, remember, this is the starting point. And remember, the starting point has x of 0. So there you go, x of 0. So my y is negative 7. So my b is negative 7. So now that I know all that information, I'm going to write my equation. My equation for this line is y equals 7 over 4x plus negative 7. Notice how I still added the plus sign, but I put my negative 7 in parentheses. All right. Again, you are just changing the m and the b. Everything else stays the same. The y, the equal sign, the x, and the plus sign. Everything stays the same. So my answer for this question is y equals 7 over 4x plus negative 7. All right, you are doing the next one on your own. Try it. Check your work with your classmates. Make sure you understand that. If not, once again, I have videos on this on KC4. Again, this should be a review. All right, and the next one that I'm going to be doing with you is how to get the slope on graphs that do not have the coordinate points. I can get the coordinate point if I want to, but again, I just have to count the spaces, the squares to go up and down. If you notice, okay, I have little small squares here. I don't know if you guys see that, right? We have little small squares, but I really don't count those small little squares. I count where the numbers are. This is 1 and this is 2. That means that this is one space. That's one big square. So that's what I'm counting, okay? So I noticed that I can find my b right away because this is my y-intercept. You should know that these are your y's and this right here is your x. The line that I just highlighted with the line that I have on my graph, they're intersecting at this point, which means that my b equals 3. Because if I notice, it's 1, 2, 3, and then it goes to 4. So this has to be 3. All right, so I found b. Now let me find my slope. Well, they gave you 2 points already, so I'm using those 2 points. If we start from the left to the right, you should notice that this is your first point and the second point. That means that I'm going from this point to this point, all right? Remember, you're counting the spaces that you go up and down because it's change over y over the change of x, okay? Which means y, you go up and down. How many spaces you go up or down? Well, I know that I have to go up. 1, 2. So I went up 2 spaces and I'm going to the right. 1, 2, 3. I went over 3 spaces to the right. So my slope is 2 over 3. So my equation for this is just going to be y equals, I should have colored my b in red because that's what I had. All right, y equals 2 over 3 because that's my change. X plus 3. There you go. Once again, you should have counted the big squares. It goes 1 to 2 from here, and then 2 to 3 here, so that's 2 spaces. Okay, and it goes from negative 3 to negative 2 to negative 1 to 0. So that's moving to the right 3 paces. Okay, so there you go. That's my equation of a line. You are going to try this on your own. Okay. Don't forget that you also have to do your practice packet. You are only going to do the part 1 of the practice packet. Okay. Again, if you are struggling, please come see me. And don't forget that you have videos on this, which I am probably, most likely, going to be putting the other videos on your Teams page as well, because this should be a review, nothing new. When I come back, you are going to do something new. So again, just do this as a review.